It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. And now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hello, everybody. Yes, it is showtime. Pop, pop, it's showtime. It is time for the Geno Jones Show, Monday through Friday, right here live on my YouTube channel. The Geno Jones Show brought to you tonight by Lockwood Outdoor Advertising, converting cars to cash. Yes, sir. And we are all about supporting black businesses right here. Yes, we are down with the African-American business owner. We got to support you because we don't support you. Who else will, right? Right. So converting cars to cash. It is the only African-American owned outdoor digital advertising company here in the state of South Carolina. So if you got a product where people can shop online, you can reach this market. This is a huge tourist market. See your product, your good, your service, your name up in lights on this beautiful, huge digital billboard. LockwoodOutdoor.com, LockwoodOutdoor.com. So listen, I'm always excited when I have my guest on. She is a regular contributor to the Geno Jones Show. I am talking about Miss Kelia Karson. I like to call her Kelia Karson Key. So we've known each other for about 20 years. So she is my just culture contributor. So we're going to be talking about the Queen of Soul and her series. It was on National Geographic. But first, let me give you the latest news here. President Biden held his first news conference. So he predicts that there's going to be 200 million vaccinations in his first 100 days. So initially, he had a goal of 100 vaccinations, 100 shots in arms in his first 100 days. Actually, he got 100 shots in arms in his first 58 days. So now he has reset that goal, 200 shots in arms, 200 vaccinations in his first 100 days. And I'm proud to say that I am one of those first 100 plus million vaccinations. So now the new goal is 200 million vaccinations from 100 million vaccinations in Tuesday. And you can see I'm still doing fine. You saw me. As a matter of fact, I was live on Tuesday night. Felt great. I was live Wednesday night. Felt great. No soreness, no fatigue, no headache, none of that. I didn't have a head and neck coming out on this side and went out that side looking like Medusa. I didn't grow horns or tusk. I didn't grow a tail. I didn't turn into like Godzilla. I'm good. I'm good. All right. And you should be too. So just wanted to give you, that was the main news. Also, President Biden displayed anger at states like Georgia that voted to suppress the vote primarily of African Americans, black and brown people, even more again. As a matter of fact, these states are actively, as a matter of fact, you got 43 states that have laws on the books trying to, as they term it, to this voter integrity bull, which is basically too many of you black and brown folks are voting and we'll never get in power because by 2042, the year 2042, this country will be majority minority. And because we're not a minority, but what they mean is there'll be more non-white Americans than white Americans. And some folks got a problem with it, which listen, that's your problem. Because this whole whiteness, this concept of whiteness, it's like y'all make that up in Europe and imported that crap over here. That's a whole different show. It's a whole bunch of back episodes, so you know my feeling on that. But anyway, so a lot of these states have enacted basically major voter suppression laws where they're like, democracy? What's democracy? Democracy means that when we as white Americans can stay in power and can control the masses, that can have voting power, voting control of voting rights and economic rights and the whole 9 yards. So states are not having it. President Biden called it sick. He said these, what he called voter suppression tactics by the GOP. Look at the news conference. He called them out. He said they were sick and that he was going to do everything in his power, including when a reporter said, well, President Biden, do you have a strategy to combat these states? Because states have certain control. in terms of how election goes. Every state controls their own election. However, they can have federal laws, especially when it comes to making sure that every voter has a right to vote without some type of restriction. So the reporter asked President Biden, do you have a strategy? He said, yeah, I do, but I'm not going to discuss that strategy with you on TV, so the other folks, the other side will know what the strategy is. Smart man, President Biden, smart man. That means that he's got it for those card players, you got the Joker, you got the big Joker and the little Joker. So that means, he probably got the big and the little Joker in his hand, looking at his hand. It's like, I got y'all, don't worry. When it's time for me to, bam, hit you with the little Joker, and then if that ain't enough, when I gotta go, bam, hit you with the big Joker, I got you. That's for all my card players out there. Like, I play cards. I'm really not a card player, but I grew up around card players. So that's basically what happened in today's news conference. So speaking of today, happy birthday, March 25th, Aries, stand up. Juvenile, my man from New Orleans, NOLA, repping the Magnolia community, the Magnolia projects in New Orleans, the 504. Juvenile, Cash Money Records, Mr. Back That Ass Up. You a fine mama, you a fine blanky blank. Why don't you back that ass up? That's his big hit. Juvie is 44 today. Big Sean repping the Detroit, Michigan, the home of Miss Kelia Karson, who will be on camera shortly. Big Sean is 33. Lark Voorhees. So she was a big actress, really like in the 90s, early 2000s. Most people know her from the TV show Saved by the Bell. Speaking of TV, she was also on, what is it? One Day, I know she was on Days of Our Lives and another soap opera, which I didn't even know. She's 47 today. Laz Alonso, like Alonzo. Laz Alonso, actor. He used to be a host on BET. He was in Fast and Furious. He was in Stomp the Yard. He was actually in Avatar. He's 47. And on this day, back in 1942, born in Memphis, Tennessee, Miss Aretha Louise Franklin came into the world, and the rest is history today. The undisputed forever, and I mean she will forever be the Queen of Soul, would have been 79 today. And with that, it is time for me to bring on camera my culture, political and culture contributor to the Geno Jones Show, Miss Kelia Karson. There she is. Look at that beautiful smile, that lovely face there, rocking the natural hair. Yes, black woman magic, doing the damn thing. On camera, I gotta say. On camera, I gotta say, because my mother loves you. She's like, "Oh, I love Kelia. Tell Kelia I said hi."
Tell your mama I said hi.
Because she probably looks. I know her. She
hears me.
Yeah. Oh, not only does she hear you, she's answering you. She's like talking to the TV. Hi, Kelia.
So we get to talk about somebody your mama knows.
Oh, listen, Key. I get it. Even though sometimes, when a person that famous grows up in a city, people who grow up around them, they look at them differently because, it's like, yeah, it's that kind of starstruckness in there because, they just regular folks because you grew up with them. But I can't think of anybody that is a bigger fan of Aretha than my mother. My mother loved her some Aretha Franklin. Still loves Aretha's music.
Yes.
All right,
She's
so listen.
worthy to be loved.
Yes, she is.
Worthy to be loved.
Speaking of love, let's cut through the chase. I couldn't wait to get you on today, Miss TV and movie critic. I'm like, you already, we had that debate about Janet. So I want to get your director and producer's cut. First, I want to get you, first tell me what you thought about Genius Aretha, and then if you would have done your own director's cut, what would you have done differently? What would you have included? Give us some backstory. I'm sure there's parts of the story that you can fill in. even the controversial parts. Even I know you still up in the D. I know you got to live there, but I know
I gotta eat and sleep there. I don't want to do it watching my back with one eye open.
But you speak the truth though. I know you speak. That's one thing. You don't slander nobody. You just tell the truth, shame the devil. Some folks have a problem with the truth, but that ain't your problem. That's their problem. So let's get your take on Genius Aretha.
So my take on Genius, because keep in mind, Genius is a Nat Geo series that features geniuses, people that they would consider geniuses.
That's a good point.
Einstein
That's a very good
was
point.
the first, Picasso was the second, and our dear Aretha Franklin. How awesome that she would be the third in that series.
I didn't know that, Key. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That Nat Geo was doing it like that. I didn't know that.
Right. And
Thank you
so
for explaining that.
but it's important because that gives you perspective in maybe how they framed the movie. Okay. So I actually loved the patience that they took with the story. I love that because so often, and what you're going to get come August when Respect comes out with J Hud and that production, you're going to get a 2 hour, this was 8 hours.
Yeah, that's a good point, Key. That's a good
And
point.
so
Yeah.
there's a difference in 2 and 8 hours and the amount of depth and the amount of discovery of one's life can go on in that amount of time. So that's what makes Genius, the series, so important. So from that aspect, I absolutely loved it. Now, initially, I thought I would be aggravated because Respect.
Not you. No, never.
Respect, the movie that is coming out in August with Jennifer Hudson, got the option of the rights for the big hits of Aretha. And Genius got the other half.
Okay.
Okay.
So now, do me a favor. Let me just stop you
Mhm.
here, because
Please do.
I know you're familiar with this. So correct me if I'm wrong. Jennifer
I will.
Hudson and Aretha had developed, and I'm pretty on point with this, but you could back up. I'm pretty certain. I really know for a fact that Jennifer Hudson and Aretha had developed over some time a pretty good relationship. Correct or not?
Yes, she was like the fourth or fifth person that Aretha had decided should play her life.
Right.
And even Audra Day, I think, was the first one.
Okay.
Believe it or not, she saw her in a play years ago, and that was one of her first. It went to you had Fantasia in there.
I remember
You
that.
had even Halle Berry.
I remember
Berry was
hearing
like
that
her
too.
second. Yeah.
Because a lot
So-
of folks was like looking at
Right.
sideways on that. They was like Halle Berry, Halle Berry, Halle Berry,
I guess
Halle
Aretha
Berry.
said, she cute, so am I. Why not? I can dub her with my voice. But yes, Jennifer Hudson and Aretha had developed a good relationship over the years, and that is who she settled on in terms of playing her life.
Yes. She gave
And then-
she gave Jennifer her blessing. That was the last one she kind of anointed and said,
Right.
"I want you." She stated that publicly, that I want you, Jennifer Hudson, to play me in my biopic.
Right. So where was I at, Geno? What point was I making? I was saying
Well,
that
I didn't mean to cut you off, but you were.
that's okay.
You were about to tell us. We're about to get to the good part, one of the good parts, because
okay.
you were about to tell us why you didn't think you were really going to like Genius Aretha.
Oh,
at
yes,
first.
the music. That's right, because Respect got the big hits, and Genius, Aretha Franklin, got the option for the others. And so, but what I noticed was that if you're about your Aretha and you know Aretha, I mean, you don't even have to be like a super fan. You could just be a fan in passing. You would have been fine because Aretha, even her B-sides was the jam.
It's true.
Okay. So I had no problem with the music. That you will have some people who would argue that, but I would argue, where you from? So certainly not from the D. So I had no problem with that at all. Love the music. Loved Cynthia Erivo in the role, even though and I don't want to. Please don't send us no message about British people playing American people. I'm sick of it. I don't want to hear about it. Okay. She did an absolutely wonderful job as an actress.
She did a good job. I can't take anything away from her. She's
Yeah.
problematic in some other areas personally, based on some public statements she made. But that's another.
But that was,
That's a different.
yeah,
Yeah, but I
about Black
couldn't.
people.
And
Yeah.
and I got to be honest, Key, and I'm glad you went there because. So when people are problematic, and then when you watch their art, I try to be fair, but I'm human, so it's almost like this taint. It's like, okay, you almost got like a bias. It's like, okay, this heifer really better be good, because if she's not, I'm gonna pounce on her. But I had to give it up, Keith. She really did a
Yeah,
good
and
job.
and we also can't drag somebody, because if that's the case, then we couldn't turn on the Aretha movie, because Aretha got enough bones in her closet to, because we all do,
Yes, God.
you know.
And they revealed
So,
that. They revealed most of them anyway. Not all of
you
them, but
know,
most of them.
so shall we go there
Yeah.
next? Okay,
Well,
so
yeah. Go there, and then, well, I tell you what. Let's save it. Let's save it. That's the real
okay,
juicy stuff for last.
we'll circle
What
back.
would you? Okay, Keela Carson's her director's cut. You know how these movies, they have like the director's cut that doesn't
Yeah.
come out, then they release it later. What would Keela Carson's director's cut of Genius Aretha look like? How would it have been different, or would it have been pretty much the same?
Um, okay, different. So let's go with the different. I know that I was aggravated, and I have personal reason, that the birth, and I don't know if I walked out the room. I don't think I did, but I totally missed Kelf being born, with Ken Cunningham. That was Aretha's second love, longtime love. Um, Not necessarily her second man, but in terms of the movie,
And that
um,
was that the character that T.I. played?
Ti,
Okay, he did a
who
good. I thought he did a good. T.I.'s not a
I
bad
think
actor.
Ti needs to be nominated.
I was really
Although
surprised, Key. He's
yeah,
well,
he played.
he's problematic too. That's another story. Yeah,
Yeah, that we don't know what's going on there, but acting wise, we just talking about the work.
but
I was like, Ti, you're killing me. You so good. Okay.
yeah, he really was. I was
But I was
surprised.
aggravated that the movie didn't address the fact that Kelf was born. I
Yeah,
mean, you had the
kind of skipped over
you know,
that. Yeah,
right, and I'm like, she had a whole baby with this man.
yeah.
What?
Where's he
Hello?
at? Yeah. Well, see,
And
you know what? I didn't realize, I didn't put the two together until I did a
yeah,
little more research today, getting ready for today's show, because I didn't think about it in real time. And then,
yeah, yeah,
once I went back, because I knew, because I'd heard that she'd had her first child at 12, and then,
yeah. The
then
second one at
again
14.
14. But so she was 14 when she had this relationship.
No,
So
Kelf is the baby.
okay, but what was the guy's name? Kel's
Ken
dad,
Cunningham,
Ken Cunningham.
the
So
father.
how was Ken when she was 14? Were they teenagers, or was he? Because
No,
in the
no,
movie
no.
they kind of
Ken
looked.
Okay, whoa. Wait a minute, Geno. My mind is melting. Wait a minute. Wait. Okay. Ted White, the first man, which is her husband, was there. That's the one everybody accused of being a pimp.
Okay,
Then after that, the movie gets into Ken Cunningham, who by the time she gets with Ken, This is years later.
Oh, years later. Okay, all right. I was thinking the
no.
second child was by. No, that's why you on
No,
the show.
so the
Cleared
first
it up.
two children, you don't know who their father
Okay,
is.
there you go. Thank you.
She's 12 and 14. So
We
yeah.
don't know.
Right.
Been
So
a
Ted
lot of
White,
speculation. Yeah.
right. So her children with Ted and Ken Cunningham come later.
Okay.
Got it?
Got it now. We good.
Okay, great.
12 to
I hope that
14,
makes sense.
unknown, a lot of speculation. And then after that, then, so her first husband, Ted White, you said, right?
Right, that's right.
How old was Aretha then?
Oh, I mean, I would definitely say 20.
Early 20s?
5.
Oh, really? Mid-20s. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, she was a grown woman. Yeah, I mean, she wasn't a kid when she married.
Ted, right.
Although he met her, according to the story. Now, I did not know about that.
Okay.
He met her when she was a child.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, and so I, the movie took great pains to be, I guess, as sensitive as they could with handling that. So it wasn't about the visual, let's show some grown man molesting some child.
Yeah.
Let's not do that. But, we will let you know that she's pregnant. And then the way the movie portrays the reaction of the family is in that way that a lot of families, Black families, white families, all families, kind of keep their laundry tucked away in the closet.
Especially then, because let's put this in.
He was a C.L. Franklin. Her father was the pastor at that time,
right,
of the church here in Detroit. So there was no.
And Key, let's say this. Let's put it in context too. So we're talking about, because Aretha, we're talking about in the 50s. So that was a time where, like you said, a lot of, stuff was, hey, we don't talk about it. We just kind of just.
You're going to go down south, had a baby. The baby going to be Auntie Boo's new child and be raised, or it's going to be your
or Big Mama going
brother or sister instead of your child. Those kind of things. That's just what people did. And I say people because it wasn't just Black people doing it.
Oh, no.
Everybody.
Yeah, that was the time. Yeah, that was the era, yes.
It was just that era where a woman, well, you're not even talking about a woman, you're talking about a child. So now it's even more complicated.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the movie also insinuates that her father, well, not insinuates, because that actually happened. He fathered a child with a 12-year-old.
Oh, I missed that episode.
That's first episode.
That's because I did miss the first.
Yeah. So but that's not a secret.
Okay.
You can pull that up on a gajillion, bits of information on C.L. Franklin.
Yeah. He's got a complicated. I did a little more homework. I'd heard, because a lot of stuff I didn't know when I was there in Detroit. I heard, the praise, and he's renowned. Of course, his church is legendary. Right. He was a renowned preacher, could sing. But after doing a little homework, I guess could you say a Rolling Stone? Was he a Rolling Stone, Key?
Well, that's what was the talk.
Yeah.
I can't verify that.
You went around.
Right, but everybody that speaks of him is like, oh yeah, I mean, that's just what it was. Yeah. I mean,
player.
One of the quotes from James Cleveland in the movie was that, oh no, he like Sunday morning as much as Saturday night.
I love it. Since you mentioned his name, I don't know who the actor was, but man, the brother that played James Cleveland, because I didn't know that James Cleveland came from Reverend C.L. Franklin's church.
Church, yeah.
Whoever this
Yeah.
brother was, because he even looked
Yeah.
like James, to me, looked like James Cleveland. I thought he did a phenomenal job, and I'm sorry, I don't even know the brother's name, but I
I
thought his
can't
character
think
was
of the
phenomenal.
actor's name, but he is currently on Queen Sugar as
Oh,
aunt
wow.
of Vi's husband.
Okay.
So if you watch Queen Sugar, you know
Well, the Maris
the
know,
actor.
because she watched,
Yeah. So,
she don't
but
miss the episode.
the relationship with James Cleveland was interesting. I did not know the depth of the relationship.
Mhm.
And keep in mind, you're looking at a little girl who is having these relationships with these adult people. I mean, it's almost as if a childhood in the normal sense never existed. And it probably didn't, because she was quite early on the tour, the Calvary tour, singing different churches and traveling with her father, because he knew he had something special and wanted to share it with the world. So the relationship with Aretha and her father is very complicated. I
Yeah.
love you, but oh, I love you, but oh,
And he took her out of school, right? I saw that was in one of the episodes last night. He took her out of school.
Yeah, but I mean, again, context is everything. Please don't take this answer for justification.
Mm-hmm.
But when you had a talented child, and the child was especially a girl during that time,
Okay.
you wasn't worried about school.
Yeah. And she wasn't just
Her
talented.
job was either to be a star or be a star on the stage or be a star in the kitchen.
And she wasn't just talented. She was really a prodigy.
Right.
Yeah, she was next level.
Played,
yeah.
And she sang. And then she eventually learned to master an audience.
And shout out to whoever the young actress, that young lady, man, that played the young Aretha. Oh, I thought she about knocked it out the park.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know how to pronounce her name, if it's Shea or Shane or but
young sister, she was phenomenal.
She was outstanding.
Yes, she
outstanding. And the restraint. I mean, imagine having to tell your grandmother that you think you're pregnant.
Ooh,
or
man.
What is that?
In the 50s. In the 50s.
So I thought, although the movie sought to reveal, I thought they did it as tactfully as you could with the sensitivity of the topics.
Yeah, I understand.
But other things that I wish they had have explored maybe just a tad bit more is her relationship with her sister and her brother, her sisters and brother, CECIL. Although you can see it, I wanted them to maybe go a little deeper if they could, but it was what it was. You get the idea that, Carolyn was the writer.
So let me ask you this. So this is your director's cut. What would look differently? What more context?
I would definitely
how much more depth
have
would you
highlighted. I would definitely have highlighted the dynamic between Aretha and her brother CECIL much more.
What was that dynamic that's so interesting?
I mean, okay, Irma was her sister, Carolyn was the baby, but Irma was her, but CECIL was like almost like the replacement of her father in terms of her work situation.
Okay.
And the closeness that they had and the sweetness of CECIL. I just wish they had explored that more, so that you could understand how she navigated her later years.
So would it be safe to say that CECIL was really like a pillar? Because in the docuseries, it seemed like he was like the voice of reason. He was like was like a grounding force. It was
Yes.
somebody she trusted, and when she was
Yes.
really, when she was troubled, she could go. Cecil always had. He was very supportive, always had
Yes.
kind words, but he was honest with her. Because I think he
Right.
even, once then he talked about how you stole Carol's song, and I definitely want you to talk
Right.
about that relationship.
That wasn't Cecil. That was T.I.
Oh, that was Tia. Okay, right, yeah. But it seemed like,
Although he did make a comment about her stealing the song, T.I. character Ken Cunningham, the man in her life, ripped her
yeah,
about it.
right, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, so Cecil was more dynamic than I saw on the screen.
Okay.
More important than I saw on the screen, because he had her back. And I mean, you're navigating some tough waters there.
Yeah.
I also wished that we could have I wish we could have, gosh, how do I put this? I wanted more Aretha with the record company other than Wexler. Now,
with Atlantic, you're talking about when she was with Atlantic,
yes.
Okay.
What's that? Yes, that was Atlantic.
right? Before she,
Wait a minute. Where does
you talking
Clive?
about? No, you talking about when she went to Arista?
No, it was Atlantic. It wasn't Arista.
Yeah, because Clyde, that was the
Wexler
'80s.
First,
Yeah, Jerry Wexler
was her first producer.
Yeah.
So I just wish they had to navigate it, but they did hit the topics, but it was soft. They would hit it. Oh, woman, no artist can be a producer. And oh, well, I want to be a producer. I'm doing all the, and so it was kind of just, let's move this along.
Well, fill it in. How would you fill those gaps in as a director?
I would, just to bring the power to it, I would have liked to have seen how she really had to go to bat for herself and advocate for herself in that industry during that time.
Oh God, a woman and a black woman in the '60s?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Oh my God, that's a good point, Key. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would have liked to have seen that. Although she was blessed in that she had these two very successful Jewish men in her life that kind of ran interference to help her and help guide her in her career. Because you don't get a Wexler and a
Clive Davis. Oh my God, you'll be lucky. I mean, probably what 10%, maybe less than 10% of the artists, 1% of the artists will get one like that, and she got two. She got like really in terms of record execs outside of Berry Gordy. I mean, she got like two generational influences in terms of the record industry. Jerry Wexler was the Clive Davis of his era
time.
in the 60s.
Yeah.
And then in the 80s, here comes Clive Davis.
That's right. And she, I guess when she was at Columbia, she had nobody.
Yeah.
She's kind of just out there. So I just wished I could have seen more of that, but I'm being greedy, Geno.
That's okay. You can be greedy. That's why
I'm being greedy.
You're on to be greedy. Give us perspective that we didn't get to see. Aretha fans are loving this because Aretha fans, there's always more backstory. So I know you could fill in a lot of the colors. So color.
And, I think those were my tidbit because overall, I thought the movie was handled well. Where the family may fall apart on it is that they weren't included. But we all know that when you're doing a biopic, but you don't have to include the family. I know they want respect, right? Respect. But technically, this is public information and whatnot. And so they don't have to have you as a consultant, nor pay you as a consultant when they want to put a project together. That's just not how it works. So I feel bad that the family, because neither film actually had the family officially co-sign for it, by the way. even the family was not consulted.
So Key. So let me just play devil's advocate. Because from a industry standpoint, what you said is
Hmm.
right, but just from, and I know we're talking about business, so when it comes to morals and right and wrong, I know you can throw that out the window. But yeah, if I was the family, I would be feeling some kind of way because you could still make an argument that there was still some nuances about Aretha's life, like you talked about and filled in, that the family could have really filled in those gaps and really colored in those blank spaces, or it made sure that it would have been more accurate. So why would you not? What's the downside? Why would you not want to get some of the family members' input?
Because once you pay them as consultants or pay an entity, and I'm just speaking in general, I'm not speaking about Aretha's family specifically, but once you cross that line, basically you have a contributor that thinks they have a say in the end product, which can result in messing up your art, what you envision as a project. And none of the information that was in the movie is private. Um, and the family, Aretha's family, is not going to tell you any. They wouldn't have had what was on the
So,
screen on the screen.
so let me just push back here. So one could argue if I'm Aretha's uh, surviving
Son.
family son, yeah, son, right? Because I think is now correct me. Is there only one sister still surviving? Or did she pass?
No,
They all passed now. Aretha
all
was the last one.
passed.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. Aretha was, because I remember that scene where they were sitting, I think, in church, and they said it's just us two left,
Oh
and
yeah, Irma.
Irma.
And
Yeah,
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 that
yeah.
was my mom's buddy, Irma.
Irma, right. Okay, so,
Yeah. So
um,
yeah, it was Irma and Aretha, and then Irma passed, and then Aretha. CECIL passed right after. I mean, not right after, but after Carolyn.
okay, because
Carolyn was first.
the family could argue that, okay, your art this is a human being's life. So this is not a novel. This is not a screenplay from a novel. This is a person's life. If you claim to do a biopic, why would you not want to get the most accurate information? I get your point, but why would, you know,
But how? But what would make you think that the family, as private as they are, would give you anything?
yeah, but then so as a filmmaker, now, once again, we get into this thing called art, even though it's called a biopic, it's billed and promoted as a biopic. Um, how is it that the sources, so whatever sources, I guess, Aretha wrote books, she wrote an autobiography. I'm
Mhm.
sure they were consulting with somebody that had to be close to Aretha to get to get these stories and try to get specific details, because there were specific details in this quote unquote biopic. So they had to
Um,
get information from somebody
yeah,
that
but
was
you
close to
can.
the family.
I mean, you could ask one of her husbands. You could Glenn Turman. You could ask friends of hers. Clive knew her just as you know what I'm saying. So there are a lot of people who know Aretha and could speak to the things that you saw.
Bits and
And then
pieces of her life. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
and then she wrote a book, so it's
Yeah.
not private.
Right.
Her having the children, she's never lied about that. So what is there, the insinuations about her father and all that, that's not public. I mean, that's public information.
Right.
So you just get to the point is where you think, is it worth the aggravation? And that's how producers think. So I'm not saying that Kelf and Clarence, his brothers, and Vaughn, and that they would um, be.
Well,
Um,
because you use the word aggravating. So who's to say that ex-husbands or Clive Davis or some other people that knew Aretha wouldn't be as aggravating or more than
but
somebody like her?
Clive was a producer on both projects, on Respect and Genius. So you can't get rid of Clive. Um,
He's
the
still
one
getting money. But you know what? I'm the family. I'm feeling some
Right.
kind of way. Because it's like, come on, dude, you coming in, you pimping on the front end, and you going to pimp in death? You still pimping because he getting a check. So the family, from that standpoint, this is my personal opinion.
Well, and the family
I'm
didn't.
feeling the same. I'm
well,
feeling some kind of way. Because you don't
well,
know my mother better than I do. You
well,
know
pause
aspects
for
of
a
her
second.
career. You don't know her better than I do, or like her granddaughter.
Okay, Geno, calm down.
No,
Simmer down now.
I'm just listen. I'm playing devil's
No, no.
advocate, but I'm
The
being honest. I'm being
estate-
real. If that was,
Okay,
if
but-
Aretha was, if that was my mother, yeah, I would be feeling some kind of way.
I get it because they want to talk, but the estate approved the projects. The estate approved.
That's a whole nother show.
So
Who controls the estate?
but the point is,
Yeah. See, do we know that answer, or we
just
just
like the estate approved Amazing Grace. Amazing Grace, the movie.
Yeah.
After because they taped that in the 70s, and it was just released in 2018.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Because I remember seeing that.
Right
yeah.
after she passed, like 3 months after she passed, because the estate approved it.
So the question is, do we know who controls the estate? Who is the administrator of the estate?
Well, it's my understanding that the cousin of Calf and his brother Sabrina has been removed, I believe. And so
they were
just the brothers that I know of.
So Kelf was because they didn't get married. They had just been,
When you say married,
were they married? And Aretha.
Kelf is
Kelf's the son. The son. Okay. Kelf's dad is. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Right.
So one of the sons was the. See. Oh God. No. Never.
Well, I think all the sons. I think they equally are part of. The estate.
Control the estate. Yeah, we're like administrators of the estate.
Sabrina, Irma's daughter, was also part of it, but I believe she has been removed.
Okay. Oh well.
That's my understanding.
Don't say no more.
But,
That's really...
And so I get what you're saying, Geno, but actually most biographies are not done with approval.
Well, that's the difference between biographies and autobiographies. Yes.
Right.
Auto, for those who don't know, autobiography means that you wrote it yourself.
Yeah.
Biography means that somebody else just got in your business and just listened to a whole bunch of folks that thought they knew everything about you and didn't know half-ass or everything about you, and then all of a sudden you put it all together and then you do a biography.
Well, but others would argue, but people who do autobiographies won't tell the whole truth. And then is it interesting?
Right. But
and
then
that's the problem.
The folks with biographies will embellish, or they may have an axe to grind.
That's true. Absolutely true.
It'll still, no matter what story, who's telling this story, everybody has a perspective. Everybody may not have an agenda, but everybody may have a certain perspective, a lens that they see the story through. So,
listen, but I thought that National Geographic, I want to say Nat Geo, but
that's right. That's what they call themselves.
I know, but so that we properly state that it's National Geographic, and you can watch the movie again if you like on Hulu. I think they did an excellent job at trying to depict their story. The church scene for Amazing Grace, the recording of that album, it was identical to what you saw or what you would see in the movie that is out now.
Okay.
I mean the choir's attire, the color of the pews and the chairs, everything. Aretha's clothing and hair, and it was so accurate in terms of the visuals.
Yeah.
Um,
And let's talk
but
about Keith.
but it's
Let me
it's
ask you.
problematic. The story is problematic. It's very hurtful.
Yeah.
And
Well, can I ask you? Don't lose that train of thought. But I
okay,
want to ask you about because I want to make sure I was clear because there was a lot of contention on what church they were going to shoot it in, and
yeah,
they actually shot it in a bigger church in Los
yeah,
Angeles. Am I correct?
yeah,
Yeah, out in
yeah.
Watts. Yeah. Okay.
Because at the time, James Cleveland had a like a little storefront kind of church,
Yeah, you saw that.
a
Yeah.
small church, and so Wexler said, "Hey, I think this is going to be a big deal. It's a live album. Let's get a bigger space." Of course, they said, "Let's go to your father's." And Aretha said, "I don't want to do it at my father's," because at that point in her life, she was trying to um, exercise the control of her life. And so she didn't want to be here in Detroit. So she went to another church, and James Cleveland just took the choir from his church over there. So it's still Cleveland's choir, but they were at a different location.
Damn, Key. I don't know who them actors were, and I don't know how much was overdubbed, but they was some singing. I swear to God, I thought I was up in church.
That one sister in the front,
yeah,
honey.
what Key?
You know the one I'm
Man,
talking about.
I know.
Man,
Sister,
she
cause
was-
a full figure, bump rocking. Man, Key.
no,
I
they
thought I was
sounded
back up in
great.
church as a little kid. It took me there. It took me back.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in a little storefront church. So I know what that's like.
Oh, okay.
And,
Yeah.
the choir, they had some singers, and she just took,
Yes.
man. I was
And
like,
Aretha
whoa.
was actually fine with it being recorded that space,
yeah.
because she understands from an experiential point of view, having been in the black church and the way the stumping of the feet in that kind of space,
That Holy Ghost spirit just.
yes, and how it sounds.
Yeah.
It feels good.
Yeah.
It feels good when it takes over you. So she understood that, but Wexler was like, "Hey, we need to pack them in if we can." And so, then was the decision to do it at the bigger church. But it was wrought with problems, technical problems for the film crew. I think Sidney Pollack was the one who directed it.
Yeah.
They lost the what he did was he did not sync the audio with the picture.
Come on, Mr. Award-winning,
Well, at that time,
Oscar-winning director.
Well, they're not at that time.
Well, Wexler was talking like he was Martin Scorsese or some damn body.
No, he was talented, but imagine, this is Steven Spielberg before Jaws.
Right.
This is, that time when you're young, and so he forgot to sync the audio with the picture, and so then when they finally did it, then Aretha was upset and didn't approve it. So it didn't get approved until until she passed away, and the estate approved it for obvious reason, because the estate is like, we're about trying to make the money to make sure things are paid and all that. So
So if you were grading overall, you would give this what a grade?
You're gonna get some Emmy nods out of this.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
The young lady that played the young Aretha,
Yep.
and James Cleveland, the brother that played James Cleveland. And listen, Key, and I meant to say this earlier. Courtney Vance.
Courtney Vance is going to be the first Emmy.
Courtney Vance.
I believe.
Reverend C.L. Franklin, pimp or die. Praise the Lord, pimp or die. Praise the Lord, girl. You sure look good.
Listen, I was so impressed with Courtney.
Yes.
I just felt that he was real. He really. I'm not saying that because people mix art with reality. I'm not saying that he was the exact prototype mold C.L. Franklin, Reverend C.L. Franklin.
Damn sure seemed like it though.
I am saying that Courtney tapped into what people perceive to be.
Good. Excellent. Thank you. I was gonna say.
And
Go ahead.
and he's such a good actor that he was able to provide the complexity that
the character needed.
C.L. may have been a father who did not protect his child and allowed this to happen to her with the pregnancies and allowed his need for her to be a star to override his sense as a father. But you also saw Courtney play the loving father.
Yeah.
Within that complexity. You also saw the dynamic of the protectiveness that he had of his children. And you also saw the bitterness of a man whose wife took a stand for herself back in the 50s and said, I'm out of here.
Right. So.
And I'm glad the movie addressed the fact that Aretha's mother did not abandon her and her sisters and brothers.
And I missed that. So could you speak to that dynamic? Because that's something that's not talked about. There's a lot of speculation that what happened? Why wasn't her mother around? But I missed those early episodes, but I know. So this is where we can kind of transition and really kind of.
But you don't have to watch. See, this is what I'm saying. A lot of people think in the movie, what is this movie? You can read it. It's been
pick up a book.
People who have known for. I'm 51. I've known.
So basically, so let me sum it here.
Barbara Franklin, the mama.
Mm-hmm.
She left Reverend C.L. Franklin because he was a philanderer.
There you go. You know where I was going.
And
he
had fathered that 12-year-old, fathered a child with a 12-year-old, and she took him back, but then he kept, and God knows what else, because I suspect that if you have anyway, let's move on from that.
Yeah.
But
no, you just keeping it real. Yeah, you keeping it real.
Yeah, I don't know that he was attracted to minor children. The movie tried to, just for a split second, kind of insinuate that maybe he didn't know how old she was, but it was a blip of a second. And that's the brilliance of the actors in the movie. It was like, but a couple of times he was challenged about that 12-year-old girl, and the wife just couldn't take it. And so what she did was she was trying to take her children with her back to Memphis because she wanted to totally leave him. But she was a woman in the 50s with no job.
A black woman.
Black woman, no education, not enough education that, right. So she went,
in the South,
so CL said, okay, listen. And I'm sorry, it wasn't Memphis, it was Buffalo, New York that she moved to, because that was the last place that CL.
Oh, really? Okay. But Aretha was born in Memphis. That's why I said Memphis, right. So I didn't know.
That's right.
So is her mom from Buffalo? Or is she from Memphis?
Her mom's from Tennessee,
okay.
But they moved to Buffalo because he was pastoring a church there.
Okay.
And then she had moved family, family had moved there to be with them and whatnot. But then when he got the call to come to Detroit, she came to Detroit. But then when she decided to leave, she wanted to go back where her mother was. And her mother had, by that time, moved to
Buffalo.
Okay. So she wanted to get a job in nursing and make enough money and raise her children. She just didn't have the money. And CL knew that, according to the movie. And he told her, you're a woman, you don't have any money. Where you taking 4 kids?
Wow.
But to bed upstairs in this big house in Detroit. You ain't going nowhere. And she said no, and she left anyway. And so he played that so well that the bitterness, he didn't even go to now they don't really show that, I don't think, in a funeral. I think they may have mentioned it, but it is no secret that he did not even go to her funeral.
Oh, wow.
And the kids visited her for the summer in New York, and she would come to Detroit to visit them, and she would call them. So it wasn't like her mother abandoned her. She did not. She was trying to get her kids, and then she ended up dying.
Tragic. Yeah. But you know,
Yep.
you think about the way you described Aretha's mother. Sounds a lot like Aretha in terms of that fire and that spirit, fearlessness, and hey, listen, you know what? I'm gonna handle my business. And we're talking about back in the 50s. It was just, you know, some folks may call it, you know, Me Too movement or women's liberation. But I always say black women have been liberated all along because they had no other choice. They had to work. they didn't have access to privilege and power. You know, they dealt with everything, slavery, being enslaved, and everything from murder and rape and selling families off to systematic racism and all that entailed that discrimination in every form of employment. So you had to deal with racism and misogyny and sexism and overcome that. And Aretha had that.
And with a smile.
Thank you, Key. That's an excellent point.
Love for your babies and still love for your fellow man.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Key.
Yeah. So, and it wasn't just Aretha. Her sisters were equally fierce in the Black Girl Sense. Fierce.
And that's where I wanted to segue, because it seems like there was that tension between her and Carol. Carol wanted a career. So could you just kind of maybe do a little deep dive?
Have you ever heard Carolyn sing?
I remember when we first met, Key, and one of the first times you were telling me stories about, you know, your family and Aretha's family and your mom, and you told me about her sister Carolyn. So I know what you know, because my memory's good. You know, I didn't burn my brain cells out with weed or alcohol or nothing. but I know you told me that she could really go. But I let the world know, people watching, how good, how talented as a singer and a writer Carolyn was, and what did she really want to do with her career, and because you saw the one scene, which I forgot about, Curtis Mayfield, but Sparkle.
Oh yeah, producing Sparkle
from Chicago, one of the great, and I love that scene. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that he was going to have Carol sing on that. So just let everybody know how talented she is, or was.
So it starts with the mother.
Okay.
The mother, Barbara, was an accomplished pianist and singer.
Didn't know that.
The mama could blow. And she was the singer at the church.
Oh, wow.
So, and that's why when people talk about sometimes these movies, again, this is not a secret, but it's the stuff that people don't write about or people don't display. You know, so they get it from the mama. You know, you get it from your mama. Well, that's
get it from your mama.
Right.
They got it
from you. And you know that unique quality that siblings have when it comes to singing. That's why you love DeBarge and their harmony. That's why you love the Jackson 5, Sister Sledge and their harmonies, because there is something vocally, and it is scientific. You ain't gotta trust me. I'm not a doctor, but it's written that there is something about the way siblings sing alike when they can sing that is uniquely different
than two strangers getting together.
Right. And you can't imitate that
because it's something in the DNA. It's
exactly.
Genetic. Yeah.
And that's how Aretha and her sisters were. When they harmonized together, you're hearing that family you won't even know the difference. You'll think it's Aretha singing all the parts, and it's really her, Irma, and Carolyn.
Wow.
Carolyn was a talented writer, and the big one that people know is Angel.
Yeah, the scene in one of the
Right.
one of the episodes, she was sitting at the piano with, I guess, was that Irma,
Right.
the other sister, and they were doing a
That's
song.
right. They were singing it. It was
Yeah.
at a house gathering,
Yes.
well, we call it a set or a house party. Um, and she was playing "Gotta Find Me an Angel" at the piano. So yeah, Carolyn was a writer, and she really wanted to be a singer. But if you hear her singing, you would go, "Are you kidding me?" Was a great singer. Um, I just look at it as God. Sometimes this is just meant to be for this person.
Yeah.
Or maybe you don't possess the same drive, or you don't, because I mean, to get to a place where Aretha got, now you gotta do some things.
Okay.
And I'm not just talking about getting up early and pulling up your bootstraps. Some people don't have the stomach for what it takes to get there.
Yeah. The ruthlessness, cold-blooded.
Right. Yes, and to deal with that. I mean, look at Aretha. She got on the phone with Curtis and said, "Yeah, I'll do it," even though that's ruthless.
That's ruthless right there, buddy.
That's ruthless. And I'm not saying that's altogether bad, but
well, it is, but but nobody's perfect. Yeah, that's just
right. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, yes, she was ruthless. When you have
an opportunity like that, it's hard, even though this is your sister. So that's what. So they all had aspirations of singing because they were raised that way. It's just that Irma and Carolyn would end up mainly being Aretha's background. And so on a lot of her records, you would hear her sisters, but more performing live, you would have Evelyn Green, my aunt Pat Lewis. You would have oh God, Sissy Houston.
Whitney's mom. Okay.
Right, Whitney's mom. So you would have them performing live
with Aretha
and doing the shows.
Okay.
But Carolyn and Irma were definitely a part of the studio recordings.
So as a singer, if Carolyn would have got the breaks, or Irma, who had that talent just vocally to where folks would have been really? Because I'd heard that. I didn't know, people always say, well, so-and-so could sing in the family, could sing as good or even better than the famous person. And every story that I heard from you and when I was working in Detroit, they was like, listen, Aretha's the queen, but man, her sister.
Yeah, Carolyn she was off the hook, but she didn't have, I don't know, Aretha had an aggressive sassiness, softness. Yeah. I don't know how you do that.
And Carol didn't have that.
I don't know how you can be soft and sweet and aggressive and
you're right. You can be sweet and ruthless at the same time, and she had that combination.
But vocally, I mean, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She had that ability to sound sweet, but be so. And Carolyn did not possess that.
No, you could tell that she just seemed to be like really a giver.
Yeah.
Like in every sense of the way. That was just my read. You know better than me. You knew her, family knew of her.
Geno, when you're on the road with your father for years, you're going to learn. And that was not the experience of the other children.
So really, Aretha had more of her dad's personality in terms of the ruthlessness that CL seemed to have.
Oh, we're talking about two different things. I'm talking about her talent.
Talent-wise, okay, I got you.
No, I think they all. I mean,
Had a little bit of that
a little bit,
ruthlessness.
yeah. I mean,
Okay.
they weren't mean people, but you wasn't gonna roll over nobody up in here. So they all was about that life, including Aretha. She just said it in such a sweet way. But I'm talking about the development of her talent because she traveled so much singing is one that Irma and Carolyn did not have.
So would it be fair to say that for whatever reason, well, he didn't make a mistake. He felt and saw something different
Could be.
vocally or talently in Aretha that he didn't see in Carolyn.
I don't know. Could be. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe I have no real recollection of how and why when you have a family of singers that one is
The
separated
chosen
or
one. Who? Yeah.
chosen, right?
Why did he choose Aretha to be
Right.
the chosen
I mean,
one?
if I had that,
When
I
when
would
when
jump
the
off
other
this
right.
call and buy me a Bentley because
Oh,
I mean,
you'd be like what's his name? My Jeff Bezos at Amazon. You'd be worth 180
exactly.
billion dollars.
I mean, that's the magic formula. Yeah, you just never know what that it factor is. And sometimes it may not be it. It may just be opportunity.
Right. Because from what you're telling me, what you're confirming, everything that I've heard in terms of just flat out singing, nothing else. If you put Carolyn at a mic and Aretha at a mic, Aretha wouldn't have, and that's saying, we're talking about the queen of soul. So that's saying a whole lot about Carolyn, but you've confirmed everything. I remember all the stories you told me and everybody else from, like I said, the 3 years I was in Detroit, they was like, look, if you just flat out singing, take all the, if didn't nobody know who Aretha was, it was just like a blind music test, like they do on The Voice. And two folks standing behind a curtain and they just start singing, you would be like,
Yeah, well, I mean, you would definitely you would notice a difference.
Okay.
But the difference wouldn't be quality, it would be in the
Style.
selling.
I got you.
Yes, Aretha, but you're gonna have that when you're on the road with your father year after year after year after year after year, playing piano and singing in front of crowds and understanding that dynamic of the audience and how to sell it and how to work it. So, but
the stage presence
far
that you
as-
develop, you can only develop on stage. That's what's called a
That's
stage
right.
presence.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But as far as tone and the quality and richness, oh no, you can turn your head and go, was that Aretha or Carolyn? Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, these are great stories. So, Key, all right, listen, in closing, because, I love these stories. I remember when we first met, you were telling me these stories. I'd be fascinated. I should have been videotaping them then, but now I got a show we can do them live.
Yes.
In closing, give us your final take about, what you saw or anything about Aretha, about the family that you feel that they don't get, that just deserves the proper attention, or if there's a certain perception that the media or whoever has they have not promoted, but's out there that you want to kind of clear the air, set the record straight in terms of letting folks really know who Aretha and who this family was and what they were really all about.
I think that as much as we want to gobble up somebody else's business,
like Pac-Man back in the day.
just yang, Instagram on the ground.
Lord.
As much as we thirst for
Dirt.
the tawdry and dirt and all that stuff, you got to remember these were people who loved and needed love, and they were just like us. At the end of the day, when you close the door and go in the house, everybody kicked off their shoes and their feet stank just like yours and mine. So you have to have some sympathy, because Aretha's family is not the only family that dealt with early pregnancy. Aretha's family is not the only family that dealt with sibling rivalry, a controlling father. I mean, you can pick a famous family and talk about, a Joe Jackson and,
The DeBarge
you know,
family, their
and the
dad.
DeBar. Oh my
Stories about
God.
them. Oh
Well,
my
he was
God. Whew.
alleged to be a monster.
Yes.
So, you know, um, you have to respect that some things you just don't want to talk about with the world. And how do you
Yeah.
talk about it with the world when you may not have even got it right with yourself?
Sure. Good point.
You may need to sit with this before you talk about it. And when you were raised in that time, a time when things weren't talked about, what do you do with that? So I just ask that, you know people are going to post what they want to post, but do understand that they were people and they had every right not to discuss those things, whatever they were.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree because it was
They
family.
deserve respect.
Yeah. Yes. RESPECT.
Like Aretha said in the movie, I appreciate you for putting respect on my name.
I love that scene. Yes, she sure did. The only thing she didn't do was spell it out.
Right,
RESPECT.
right.
Pussing
Beautiful.
my man Birdman, Cash Money Records,
Oh yeah.
rapper and businessman. He put a little Southern New Orleans country twang spin on it. Put some respect with a K.
Respect.
Put some
That's
respect
right.
on my name. Y'all better put some respect on my name.
Oh yeah, she deserves all the respect. And if privacy is the way she sees that, then her family, deserves some privacy.
Yeah.
She still got family and grandkids here.
She is still and will forever be the Queen of Soul.
Yeah.
Aretha Franklin. Happy birthday, Aretha. We love you. We miss you up in heaven now. And hopefully you're smiling down on us. Kelia Karson, we love you too. Thank you. You're the
I love
best.
you, Geno, and everybody.
You're the best. We'll talk to
Thank
you soon. That's my people right there, Kelia Karson. Gave you great insight. What you didn't see on Nat Geo or the National Geographic Network. Genius Aretha. We hope we kind of filled in some blanks or just hopefully you learned some things that you didn't even know. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you. God, most of all, thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show. Monday through Friday, daily, weekdays daily, right here, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Brought to you by Lockwood Outdoor Advertising, converting cars to cash for your business. They have digital outdoor billboards. Call 843-442-5011, 843-442-5011. Go to LockwoodOutdoor.com, LockwoodOutdoor.com. All right, shout out to Markel Bailey, the official barber and stylist for the Geno Jones Show right here. Kelby Cuttin, KELBECUTTIN. Kelby Cuttin on Instagram. Speaking of Instagram, shout out to Mr. Bruce Gage, the official wardrobe stylist and consultant for the Geno Jones Show. Bruce Gage, Gage. Also check out Flyball the store, but you can check out Bruce's gear. Keep your hair, you popping your collar looking fly, fresh, fashion forward, all of those adjectives. Check them out on Instagram, Bruce Gage. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. I love you. I really do. Once again, thank you to Kelia Karson. Mother, I love you. I know you're watching, and I love each and every one of you. Thank you for your support. Thank you to all the new subscribers. Please share this episode with everybody you know. Put it up on their social media. Tag their Facebook page, and tag their copy the link and put it up on Twitter and on Instagram. The show is growing so much. Thank you very much. Like, share, and subscribe right here to my YouTube channel. Let everybody know. Even folks know that you don't like, tell them about the show. Tell them to watch. Tell them to check it out Monday through Friday. And go back and binge watch. I had some great episodes, some great guests from Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, I had Senator Cory Booker, some earlier episodes. My man, Southern Soul artist, my man Roy Chip Anthony, R&B legend, Lenny Williams, R&B legend, Chris Jasper from the Isley Brothers, R&B legend, Reggie Calloway from Midnight Star, future soul artist, my man Mr. Gene Noble, Matching Tattoos, and Grammy Award winner for 2021 for her hit song, Anything for You, Miss Lettucey, and so many more. Go back and binge watch all those episodes. You can do it right now because I'm wrapping up right here, so go back and binge watch right now on my YouTube channel. Tomorrow, Friday, I like to do the weekend review show, so you don't want to miss that. That's going to be fun. And my guest tomorrow is, let's see, a contributor to the Geno Jones Show on the West Coast. So we're going to talk entertainment. We're going to talk sports. The Lakers, they didn't trade for nobody. Man, the Lakers need help? What are we doing here? Andre Drummond, come on. Yo, Rob Pelinka, dude. Really? So I got to talk to Andre Russell, my contributor tomorrow. We're going to find out what the heck, what happened with the Lakers. How come they didn't make no trade? As much help as they need. Heck, me and Andre need to suit up. Because without LeBron and AD, the Lakers look like the fakers. And I'm a huge Lakers fan, but come on, we got to do better. Entertainment news, movie, music, we'll cover it all. Social, political, whatever it is tomorrow, me and my guest Andre Russell right here. 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 in Chicago, 4:30 in Denver, 3:30 in Los Angeles, the city of angels, Los Angeles. Until then, tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for watching again. Be blessed.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of The Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.